Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cassie, and if you are new here, welcome. I share planner related videos like this one here on my channel. Feel free to scroll through and find some other videos as well if you would like to see more content. If you like this video today, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more. All right, today I am using this beautiful kit from Papermuse Crafts. This is Apple Farm, and when she released this kit, I just knew it was one that needed to go in my fall lineup. The florals in this are so pretty. I love the light, more pastel-y pink with a little bit of the pop of red, and then the bright red in the kit with the sage green and the kind of peachy color. Just very unique and different, and so I really was drawn to this kit and had to get it. So for the date covers, she also had a Thrifty Thursday that she did. I think it was the same time she released this. I believe I got it all together. And so she had an Apple themed Thrifty Thursday. And so that little mandala up top there that I am making the date covers out of, that was part of that. And it's like little branches of kind of the apple tree on the top. It's really hard to see in the video, but it was really pretty and really well done. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to incorporate those into the kit. And they kind of reminded me a little bit of the Papermuse Designs and Gather Layers, or Gathered Plans, the Gather Layers collection. Gosh, I can't talk. And they have the date covers like that. And I've purchased several of those. I don't think I've used any of them yet because I'm so behind in planning. Yeah, I really haven't used any of them. I'm flipping through right now. So lots of blank pages to catch up on, and I have a ton of those. So I'm really excited. I love how these came out, and so I'm really excited to use some of the Papermuse Designs Gather Layers collection for the date covers. But for these ones, I did just layer, I got them in transparent, the little mandala things, and then layer that over the florals. And I love how that came out. It was so pretty. And then I used some days of the week from Sadie's stickers. Those were from a $2 Tuesday as well. And the date dots there are from Paper Trail Plans. One of the things that I really loved about this kit was the florals. Did I already say that? I might have already said that. I just really love the florals. So layering them underneath the transparent mat was just I don't know. I was all right, this is going to be good. I really am enjoying this. So, yeah. Anyway, I guess while I'm doing the rest of this date cover stuff, I can just kind of fill you guys in on where I've been. I feel like it's been so long since I've been on here. Life has just been really crazy. My job, I mean, I know I've talked about that before. I love my job. I love the people I work with, but there's just been a lot going on, and we've been short-staffed, and I feel like that's always my song here, that we're short-staffed and things are crazy, but I do manage a rather large dental practice, and so there's just always something happening within either my office or the company, and so I get pulled in a lot of directions. And so my life has just been, focusing on work. Sometimes I get home and I'm still logging back on to finish up work that I didn't get to do. So life's been crazy that way, per usual. I also do have 4 children. So if you haven't watched my other videos and you're not familiar with my crazy life, most of my kids are, older. I have a 23, 19, 16, and 13-year-old. So they're older, but with older kids comes different sets of problems and responsibilities, I suppose. And my 19-year-old and 16-year-old, they don't have, one of them he doesn't have his license, the 16-year-old, and my daughter doesn't have a car. So we are driving them to work all the time. So just lots of busy stuff with being mom and, mom and office manager and all of the things. So, yeah, so we, every week I have plans of catching back up and getting back on track with things. And we went home to New York for the holiday, for Thanksgiving. And that was really nice. We got to take a little bit of a breather. And then while we were there on Thanksgiving, we found out that my cousin, had taken his life. He was 35, and that was just a complete shock to our entire family. So Thanksgiving night was a little bit rough. And then I needed to come back up for the funeral the next week. So I had to fly back up. I did leave my family home because it was just too much with us having just been there. So, I flew back up the week after Thanksgiving. And then, when I got home, I ended up getting sick. I rarely get sick. I get sick maybe once a year. So when I do, it's always a shock to me that I'm sick. But I had been around my nieces. They're 3 and 8 months, 9 months. She's 9 months now. And they were kind of like snotty and, like you could just see they weren't like in their best health. And normally that kind of stuff I don't pick up, but I did, probably with traveling and stress and grief and just everything. I ended up getting sick. And so I missed work Tuesday from having a sore throat. And I thought for sure it was strep. And my chiropractor, who does a lot of like functional medicine stuff, I called him and said, hey, what should I do here? And he actually had me come and get some oregano oil. And I am telling you guys, like, I'm a firm believer in like herbals and things like that. But I was like, okay, let's see if this works. And by the next day, like I took these little capsules and just like squirted the oregano oil in my throat. And by the next day, I was like 90% better. It was insane. So total believer in oregano oil. But I did that. And so Wednesday I went back to work feeling, I'm getting my voice back. Things are better. And then Thursday woke up with pink eye. It's like a series of unfortunate events. So I had to go to the eye doctor. And then Saturday I woke up and my voice was leaving me. And we had our holiday party, which was so much fun. I mean, I was feeling completely fine and I was over whatever. I just was losing my voice at that point. So went to our holiday party and it was like you had to strain to talk because it was so loud. And Sunday I woke up with like no voice. I sounded like a squeaker toy. So my kids thought it was great that I sounded like a dog squeaky toy. But yeah, Sunday I had no voice at all. And then slowly throughout this past week, it's been coming back. I still don't sound 100% like myself. But I really wanted to get this video up. I've been trying for weeks now. It's been edited. I actually edited a lot of it while I was on the plane, which was nice. So, I was ready, but my voice was not. So anyway, bear with me. I'm sure my voice isn't sounding super lovely on here, but wanted to get this one up because I really miss, doing my plan with me's and just getting to hang out with you guys for a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. It's just been nonstop busy. And then with the sickness, my house isn't even decorated for Christmas yet. Today is December 17th. So my tree's up, got that up last weekend. Finally, it sat in my house naked for a week. So yeah, I'm slowly getting there. I should be decorating my house right now, but I just really wanted to do something planner related. And I've been sitting here watching planner videos. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish my voiceover, get my planner stuff organized so that I can maybe do some planning and then I'll decorate my house. But yeah, I'm just struggling this year, I think, to feel like in the holiday spirit more so than any other year as of late anyway. Let me know if you're in the same boat. I feel like there's a lot of people this year that are just kind of struggling for whatever the reason is, whether it's, emotional or financial or whatever it is. It's just a stressful year, I think, and it's a stressful time of year. I've noticed that I've had a lot more like mean patients lately and things where I'm like, okay, they're just, something in life is going wrong for them. It's not me. But it's hard, when you feel like you just get beat up by people left and right. So be kind to those when you're out and about, guys. Anybody in any kind of service industry, whether it's working in a store or in some sort of medical office or something, everybody's tired and stressed out. And this is a really busy time of year for people in like dental and medical because people are trying to use their benefits and trying to squeeze in last minute for things that they waited all year to not do. So yeah, please be patient and kind with those that you come into contact with because you just don't know what battles they're facing. And I have to keep reminding myself that too. Losing my cousin was a really good reminder of that because we just had no idea the suffering that he was going through, and to have somebody in your family that's like that is devastating. And then I think about how many people do we cross paths with every day, and don't know that they're fighting that kind of battle. And your smile or your little kind word could be the thing that gets them through that next day. So just be kind to people. There's my little TED talk for the day. Anyway, okay, jumping back into my spread here. So I did a little like the Danny with a planny trick. I feel like I use a lot of her little tricks. She's always so inspirational. If you don't follow her, I've probably said it in every plan with me. So if you watched them before, you probably, have heard me say that. But Danny with a planny, she kind of introduced this idea to the community where like putting some lace strips behind the torn paper. And I really loved that. And I thought I wanted to do that with like the florals. So I started it with the florals in the left-hand side there. And then did it with like the torn paper florals on the other side. But really love that. I love putting lace in spreads. I've probably said it before, but I almost made my page leopard and lace because I loved leopard print and lace. I just think there's something so pretty about lace. And this kit, definitely, isn't like a super girly kit. Like it does have some pink in it, but I felt like the lace just kind of went with a floral and gave it a different spin versus just like the kind of like farmhousey, barn feel that's going with it. So I thought it was like a nice like juxtaposition of like the soft lace with like more of, I don't know, like a farmhouse. I don't know. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Hopefully you understand. Anyway, the grass washi that I pulled in there, that is also from the Thrifty Thursday that Papermuse Crafts had. So that was in from that. And then these little apple trees that I'm trying to figure out what to do with, those are also from the Thrifty Thursday. The little dotted washi, I think that was Sadie stickers that I laid down. I wasn't paying attention on the bottom, like underneath the column there. These little frames, these are Sadie stickers and Chante plans. They had a collab a while back. Gosh, it's been, I think it's been over a year now because I had these for one of my fall spreads last year. So yeah, it's probably been a year and a half or so since they did that collab, but those are still some of my favorite things. I love the frames. I love being able to pull them in and kind of just add like a geometric shape. So I knew I wanted to pull those in with the bottom washi here. So the green matched this kit perfectly. Like you would think they were made for each other. So what I'm doing here, I'm just taking like a sticker page, like a removable sticker page that I use for like my leftovers, which, oh my gosh, I still need to organize so many of those. But anyway, I have an extra page from that because I haven't been putting things away. So I just took that to kind of figure out how I wanted this rather than laying it down on the sheet because I thought it might be harder to peel all of this up from that. So I just kind of did it on here so that I could play around with things and see how I wanted it before I stuck it to the page. And that was super helpful. I definitely will be doing that more. I think if I'm going to get creative, like in the bottom washi area, that was really helpful. So just figuring out how I'm going to lay everything down there. And I am using a lot of elements from the journaling page. I think she calls it the journaling page or journaling add-on in her shop. It's only a one page, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't think she has two pages for her journaling kits. It's just the one. But I've really loved getting those with like all the different shops when I buy a kit now because I feel like it gives you so much more like room to be creative and more deco and different pieces and all that. So just pulling in a lot of elements from that and trying to make a fun little bottom washi area with the grass. I don't know, just trying to make like kind of like a scene. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe what I was trying to do. It's kind of a scene, but then I also have like the little frame thing thrown in there. I don't know, just for decoration. Who knows? But I had fun with it anyway. Yeah, let me know. Comment below. Let me know, what do you struggle with most in your spread? Like, is it the bottom washi? Is it the sidebar? Is it your date covers? Or is it just like your day-to-day? Like, what part do you feel like fries your brain the most? I would say for me, it's probably my sidebar. I think it's probably my sidebar. I don't typically get this creative in my bottom washi, but I wanted to use the gingham and bring that in, like that red gingham with the foiled, like it says, like it has an apple and says you pick and all that. I didn't really care for the floral part of it as much because I felt like the floral was really far apart from each other. That is one thing I will say with the Papermuse Crafts kits. I feel like the bottom washi floral is always like too large. And so there ends up being like big gaps in between the florals. And so for me, I like a more full bottom washi where there's, like the florals are like, you can just see the pattern a lot more instead of like having a lot of like empty space in between, if that makes sense. And that's just personal preference, but I do struggle with the bottom washi with her kit sometimes. And so that's why I really wanted to make, like a bottom washi, like, what is this? Like a scene, I guess, with this, and just use the one little one is kind of like the base of it. So just a little backstory on why I chose to do that on this spread particularly. So let's see, what else can we talk about here? Yeah, I'm just still designing and pulling things in here. There was a decent amount of florals. I think I used like the majority of the florals. We'll see at the very end, but there was a decent amount of florals for me to kind of pull in here, which was nice. And then that little garland light with the mason jars, so cute. I felt like that was so perfect for like this kind of farmhouse vibe. That's from Sadie Stickers from a $2 Tuesday. and I am just obsessed with those, and I love how well they fit in with this kit and just where I place them in the bottom washi area. I don't know, just absolutely love them. I do wish that I had brought more of those into the rest of the spread. Like I'm looking at the spread right now, and I did not bring them in anywhere else in the spread other than the bottom washi. That's kind of sad. I think I tried to. We'll see as we go, but I think I tried to, and they just like weren't going with the things I was doing, or I didn't have room. But I just think they're so fun. So glad I at least got to pull them into the bottom washi area. And I'll definitely have to pull those into some other fall spreads. I'm still back planning in fall. Yeah, I have so many amazing fall kits. I really want to get going on those. Okay, so just layering some more in the bottom washi area. Oh my goodness, you guys, there's so much bottom washi stuff going on. Okay, so since we're going to be here for a minute with all of this bottom washi craziness, I even sped this up to like, I think 3.5 times or something, and it's still taking forever. So let's just do some silly questions. I don't know. How about, and I want you guys to play along, so comment below. Have you ever wanted, whether you were a kid or an adult, like an exotic pet or animal? Yeah, for me, growing up, I wanted like a chimpanzee or an orangutan. I don't think I've ever talked about my love for monkeys on my Plan With Me's, but I don't know when it started. I think it started when I got a stuffed orangutan. My grandfather, the one who passed away a couple years ago, that this kit kind of reminds me of, with the tractor and the barn and stuff, because my grandfather was a farmer. This kit, originally I was going to use this kit on the week of like that he had passed, like, you know, as like the anniversary of that. But Tulibees came out with one that was even more perfect for that. So I will be hopefully sharing that one in a Plan With Me as well. I'm so behind that I'm trying to catch up. I might do some of that like off camera and just share pictures of the spread instead. But originally this was going to be the kit for that week. So I suppose it seems only appropriate to you know, share my story about my monkey. So my grandfather, he would always give us money for Christmas. And I remember going to the store Ames. I don't know if you guys, you know, ever had an Ames near you growing up, but there was like this cute little stuffed orangutan in a diaper with a pacifier. And I was a sucker for anything with those kind of things. So I had purchased that. I think it was when I was 9. I was 8 or 9. And from that point on, just like had a love for monkeys, orangutans specifically. And I had wanted to go to school to become a zoologist. That was my original like goal. And then I got pregnant and decided that maybe that wasn't the most practical thing to want to like go work in a jungle. I literally wanted to like be the next Jane Goodall and go work in the jungle. Like that was my goal. And then I got pregnant when I was 16. And so I had to kind of shift my priorities a little bit. So no monkeys for me, but I did always want to have like a pet monkey or chimpanzee, or like one of those little spider monkeys or something. Like I just wanted a monkey so bad. I had a ton of stuffed animals that were monkeys. Like my orangutan started it all. I'll see if I can pop a picture on here. My dog ate the nose off of him. I still have him, and his diaper's missing and his pacifier's missing, and now his nose is missing. He's very well loved. His name was Coco. Is Coco. He's still around. He sits in my closet. So I'll see if I can share a picture of my raggedy old Coco, but that was my, you know, my favorite stuffed animal. He's the only monkey that I still have out of all the monkeys that I, like stuffed animals I had growing up. I've kept him because it was just special, and it reminds me of my grampy, because I bought him for money that my grandpa got me, so, or gave me. So let me know in the comments below, was there ever an exotic pet or animal that you wanted to have, or do you have an exotic pet or animal? I think the most exotic we ever got was a bearded dragon. My son wanted, he wanted like a snake, and I was like, no snakes. Like snakes freak me out. I'm not having a snake in my house. And then he wanted a skink, and those basically are snakes with legs. They have like tiny little legs, but they basically look like snakes. And then we saw the bearded dragons, and I was like, okay, I can deal with a lizard. These are cute. So we got a tiny little bearded dragon when it was a baby, and he named her Crystal. And we had her for several years, and then we did end up giving her to a friend because he just wasn't really taking care of it, and we were moving, and so we gave it to a friend. I think it was a friend of a friend, and they took our little crystal bearded dragon, but that was kind of fun. But that's the most exotic we've gotten in my house. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any fun pet stories or have an exotic pet or something you wanted growing up that you didn't get to have. All right, let me jump back into the spread. So that little, what I was doing there, I mentioned it in every video, but putting the full boxes onto the other little cutout like sticker paper. That idea came from Danny with a Planny, and I just love that idea to be able to kind of move things around and decide where I want them without like risking ripping paper and all that stuff. So I will probably forever do that trick unless I like absolutely know where I'm going to put the boxes. I was watching Lauren, Plan Mosh Plan, and she was saying how she's been putting the boxes like either in the top or the bottom and like not putting any in the middle so that all of her white space is together. And I really thought that was like super cool. So I might try that at some point, just because then I wouldn't have to think so hard too. But in the meantime, I use those things, and I will probably forever use them as long as I'm deciding where my boxes are going. In the sidebar, I'm sorry, I was kind of off screen here, but I did cut one of the full boxes that I didn't use just to fit it kind of behind like the torn paper that I had there, where that was kind of like creeping up. So I cut the box just so you could see like the little candy apple, and then used some of the headers, like the floral headers, to fill in that other space since I cut it diagonally. And then the little like leafy, almost like a garland kind of thing, that was from the Pretty Pink Co, I believe. And I just think it's so pretty, and I felt like it kind of matched like the apple tree leaves and stuff. And then this giant floral, that's one of the things I really do love about Papermuse Crafts. On her like journaling sheet, she always has like a really large floral, and she kiss cuts them so well. Like they're just really beautiful. So getting to pull that in, I was going to do it in the bottom washi area, and then it just wasn't really working. So pulled it into the sidebar. You will see that I tear up what I did right there. It's funny because when I was watching Lauren's plan with me, like kind of right before I started doing this, she was talking about how like, you know, leaving things in that you put down and peel up, or just editing that all out and seeing the finished product, and how she prefers to just see the finished product. And I think sometimes I leave my things in and sometimes I take it out. I personally love seeing when people put things down and then take it up, because first off, it makes me not feel so bad for doing that to myself because I do that all the time. And I feel like probably the majority of us, let me know down below if you are one of those people, but I feel like the majority of us like put things down and then rethink it and are like, nope, that doesn't work. And you peel it up and start over. So it's kind of nice to know like, hey, I'm human and everybody has those moments. But also I just really like seeing people's creative process of like, okay, they tried this and they didn't like it, and then they changed it to this, you know, like what the brain process to get from one thing to the next or whatever. So, and like what elements they carried forward. Like, and here I've got the frames that I really wanted to bring in because that pink also matched the kit so well. And I wanted to line them, but then I ended up not really loving it. And then when you see what I did end up doing, like there's similarities in it, but I felt like it worked better the way that I ended up leaving it. So I don't know. Let me know too if you like seeing people's creative process, or if you prefer to just see the finished product and like skip all of that. Of course, you know, if the majority of people hate it and don't want to see it, then I definitely don't need to be leaving that in my videos, and I can just edit that out, because it does make them longer. And I know that not everybody wants to watch like a super long plan with me. I think this one is, what does my thing say, 54 minutes. So yeah, we're like halfway through, not even quite halfway through yet. So it's a lot when I'm doing so much extra in all of these things, and it's a lot more to talk through. So if it's something that you don't enjoy, feel free to let me know. Like, obviously it's fun to get like nice comments and stuff too, and please don't be mean about it. But if it's something where you're like, yeah, I could do without that, like that wouldn't offend me. I always want to make sure that, you know, I do this because I enjoy doing it, but I also want to make sure that it's enjoyable for my viewers. And if you are like, please skip this stuff, this is way too long, I would rather see a 30-minute video without all this extra crap. Yeah, I'm happy to accommodate and just take things out. I forgot to mention when I was doing the date cover area up in the top left there with my month section, I did use the Hello September script. That's from Monk and Marble. I really like her month scripts, and since this week was like the end of August going into September, I just put the Hello September up there because it was like the introduction to that month. So I had that up there. The little sign that is under there with the green, that is from the Shantae Plans and Sadie Stickers collab from when they did those frames as well. I really love those signs. And then I took a trick from Rachel. She's from Monk and Marple, but her Instagram is Rachel Wright Otting. And she had, when she used the signs, used some like foil deco over like the little chain link part. I thought that was genius. So I definitely took a page out of her book there, was inspired by her for that. And then the rest of the things up there were all part of the Papermuse Crafts Thrifty Thursday, the little fence and the tree, and then the florals and the little candy apple deco. Those were all from like the different pieces of the kit that I had. And then I just brought in, let's see, which dividers did I use there? Those are Sadie stickers. Just like a really dainty scallop. I did do them on those boxes on the weekend there. I did do them where like the scallop was facing upwards on the top and then downwards, is that a word? Downwards on the bottom. And I liked how it kind of framed it. So it wasn't like both of the scallops were going the same exact direction. And then I brought in some more lace underneath that little garden stand full box because I did want to bring in and like tie in the lace from the bottom washi area into the rest of the spread as well. So I brought that in there, and then also on the box on Tuesday, just kind of balancing those out. I do like to balance things from from page to page. So like if I have lace on one side or like a round box on one side, I want a round box on the other side. Like I try to balance things. I feel like most of us try to do that, but that's one of the things, like I try to pay attention to what I did on one side and balance it out on the other. Okay, so we're actually jumping into day by day. Yay. So Monday, that box is from the kit. I love that she's got more like midi boxes in her kit now. So I just kind of tipped that sideways and put some florals around the edge. And then the icon, these will forever be one of my favorite work icons. I mean, obviously you can use it for other things, but I love these for work. The little girl with the laptop icons from My Newest Addiction. She does have them in 2 sizes, and I do PR for her shop, so all that information is down below in the description to the video. If you want to save 15% at her shop on an order, my code is down there. And I do have a freebie as well, so definitely put that in there if you'd like to get that. My new freebie is so cute, and I'm obsessed. So yeah, but those little laptop girls, she had like the bigger ones, and then I'd asked her if she could make some small ones, and she did, and they're my favorite like of all time. So I used one of those to mark work, and then the work script was from Zolane at Snowflakes and Planners. She hasn't been on Instagram a ton. I know she pops in and out. I think she will sometimes come on YouTube. So Zolane, if you're watching, hi. She is the sweetest person. And back a while ago, I had seen scripts in her planner. This was like well over a year ago. And I said, where did you get those work scripts or devotion scripts, I think is what I had seen. And she was like, oh, I'll make you some. So she made me some devotion and work and workout scripts and sent them to me. And that was like the sweetest thing. I love how generous people are in the community. And she was so kind. And she watched one of my recent videos. It was like, she saw that I was running out, and she's like, if you're running out, let me know. I'll make more. So thank you, Zolene, for being such a sweet person. I just love that, that you're willing to do that for a complete stranger that you don't really know. So thank you. But I love her script. So I brought that in. And then underneath that, I marked that I took Manny, my 16-year-old, for an x-ray. I used an oval from the kit, and then an oval from the Paper Trail Plans and Lauren from Plan Mosh Plan Collab, that kind of just added some foil in there. And then the little bone icon was from Crafts by Towie. That's one of her newer icon releases, and I'm obsessed. It's a chiropractic page, and so I used that. He had, oh gosh, let's see. He had 2 x-rays during the football season. The first one was for his hip flexor. We had found out late on that Friday before, right before he was supposed to play in a game, that what is it called? She's not a physical therapist, but like the athletic trainer for his team. He had been having some hip pain, and the way that his pain was presenting, they were kind of worried that he might have like a fracture on his growth plate. So they didn't want him to play. So he was devastated that Friday before that he couldn't play, like so mad. But we were like, buddy, we'd rather be safe than sorry. So we got in Monday for an x-ray to rule out, any fractures or anything like that. And luckily he was fine. It was just more muscular than anything. And so he did a lot of PT and got through that. and, you know, definitely helped strengthen his like hip flexor muscles and stuff. So I took him for his x-ray that day. They did tell him that basically his growth plates are closed. He's only like 5'6", maybe 5'7", not even. I think he's like 5'6". So my poor son is going to be quite short, but he's handsome. So he's got that going for him. And then after that, there was a meeting. So we did the x-ray. And then later that night, there was a meeting with his football team for like the team fundraiser. So I marked that using a box from the kit. And then that gold foil box was from a Papermuse Crafts like freebie a while ago. I don't remember when I got that, but I pulled that in. And then one of the little branches from the Thrifty Thursday in the grass. Thought the grass kind of worked well with the little football icon. That's also from Crafts by Towie. And then I did have to run a bunch of errands because he started school the next day or the day after, 2 days later. But we needed to pick up stuff. He's starting a new school, and it is like a charter school, but it's a preparatory school. And so he has to wear a uniform, and there's very strict rules on what they can do with their hair and their earrings and all kinds of things. So we had to go get stuff for school. So I marked that with a little checklist that we went to Kohl's and Walmart and Target to get a bunch of like school supplies. And then I put like a cute little like sweater and books and stuff in there because it was like school clothes and school stuff. So just layered that with some florals from the kit on the right side of that. Let's see. And then looks like we're on to Tuesday. So yeah, Monday was like a crazy day. And then Tuesday, I had work. I used the scrubs icons from Crafts by Towie. Gosh, sometimes I'm stumbling over my words. I do work in a dental office, like I said, and I wear scrubs every day. So I thought it would be kind of fun to get those icons to mark work just to kind of change it up. So I use those, and underneath, like I used the box from the kit with the florals already attached, and then used a Miss and Meow transparent circle underneath just so that I could add some, like a pop of color. And then the little arch with the kind of viney floral stuff on the side there that is from the Pretty Pink Co., I believe from a TLR Tuesday, and I just really loved the way that kind of added some flair and some more like, you know, foil sparkle in there. And then I threw in one of the little fences from the Thrifty Thursday, and I used that to mark work. Again, used the work script from Zolane from Snowflakes and Planners. And then underneath that, I used another box from the kit, kind of tipped it sideways, and kind of had this like flow into each other. I really liked how that, I don't know. I felt like it flowed really well. I was kind of like going left to right with things. And I really just like how it came out. Oh, I forgot to write in one of these boxes. Oh my gosh. And I already like filmed my like, you know, pan over. Oh, well, I'm going to have to write in there. So after work, we had meet the teacher night at my son's school. So we did that, met his teachers, went to all his classrooms. It was really fun because this is the first year this school has been open. It's a whole new school. It's like K through 12. But it was the first year. So it was like everybody meeting everybody for the first time. But it was cool because he already knew a lot of the kids from the football team. And so like he kept running into like his teammates and his friends. And so that was nice. He was not super thrilled about having to go to a new school, but his other school, like the public school that we're assigned to here where we live, is just really gone downhill. And I was like, this is not the safest place for you. And you know, just not good. So we took him out of there and put him in this other school, and he's, you know, kind of fought it a lot. But it was really nice to like see him getting along with people and like have a little bit of excitement, even if he didn't want to admit it. So that was cool. I used a White Deer stationery icon to mark that because I had the school icon and added a little bow on top of that from Sadie Stickers. And then I think I had already pulled it in here. Maybe I didn't. It's hard to see in the video. I might not have yet, but I did end up pulling in like one of the little like swirl, I don't even know what they're called, from Miss and Meow. It was from a freebie. And I love that divider. I need to go purchase some of those because I only have the freebie ones, but those are just some of my absolute favorites. And then below that, this is where I forgot to write in, but I used a White Deer Stationery little basket icon. I'm assuming we probably stopped at like Food Lion, I think, the little grocery store in town, because I put a little shopping basket. So I'm guessing that's what that was. And then some of the little grass from the Thrifty Thursday. And then after that, so this night was crazy too. We had to run to my 13-year-old school. They had a curriculum night. So he'd already been in school. He is in year round and he had been in school for a while. But they were going over their curriculum. So I did use just a little circle from the kit. And then I used a square from the Miss and Meow transparent sheet. And kind of cut some of it off and stuck it behind on the other side. and then used a White Deer Stationery little desk icon. I love that. So yeah, that was a really busy day. Like we went from one busy day to the next. And then Wednesday was my son's first day at his new school. So I'm marking at the top there, work with a box from the kit. And then I did use another one of the layering boxes from Paper Trail Plans with a collab with Lauren. And did the same thing I did on Monday. Again, like trying to keep things kind of symmetrical. So I basically did like every other day. I did either scrubs or the My Newest Addiction icon. And then the little branchy thing on the bottom there, I forgot to mention that on Monday, but I believe that was Pretty Pinkco as well, I believe. And I just kind of like did them facing different directions to kind of give it some variety on the 2 days. And then after work, looks like I went to Walmart and Publix, according to my notes. So I put a little shopping cart in there from White Deer Stationery to indicate that I'd gone like grocery shopping or whatever I did. Clearly, we probably weren't very prepared for the week. If I make this many trips to the grocery store during the week, it generally means we didn't prepare for the week very well on the weekend. And we were stopping every day to get stuff to make for dinner. So I'm guessing that's what was happening there. And then underneath the full box there, what I'm working on right now, I was marking that it was Manny's first day at his new school, with the White Deer Stationery desk icon again. And then, like I layered, what was that? I think that was, oh gosh, Olive Planner Co. It's not on there yet. I think I added that after, or is it on there? Nope, it's on there. Olive Planner Co. is like the foil box behind the circle from the kit. I just wanted to like add some dimension there, and then pulled some florals in like to the top right and underneath it, just to kind of like create a little like box within there. I don't know if that makes sense the way I said that, but you can see it on the screen. And then I'm just kind of tucking in some of the florals in other spots too that I had. I think I swapped the 2 desks because I had one that was one color and one that was another maybe or something. I don't know why I swapped the desks, but I did. And then I just put the little fence and the florals underneath to, again, like I said, just kind of make it like separated. And then that night I bought my Galentine's with a Plan tickets. So I didn't really have any like icons to mark that. I don't really have anything for that. I pulled in this bow strung box from the Giving Girl and threw some florals like behind it or in the corner. And then I used a yay sticker. You can't see it yet, but from White Deer Stationery, because I edited all of that out, but I went through like all of my icons and was like, okay, there's got to be something I could use to mark that I bought tickets to this event. And I mean, short of just using like a planner, because it's a planner event, I was like, I don't know what to do. So I just used the yay because I thought that was a cute little sticker anyway, and I was so excited. Let me know if you're going to Galentine's with a Plan. Comment below and let me know. I am so excited to meet so many people. I've seen, I think Jess from Letters to Apollo and Ray and Tay are going, and Rachel from Monk and Marble. I think she might actually be rooming with me and my best friend. We're trying to figure all the details out, but yeah, there's like so many people. I think Heather from Planning with Heather, she's on the PR team with me on My Newest Addiction. So just lots of people that I'm hoping to get to meet and hang out with. Shanice from Planners and Tacos is putting on the event, and I'm super, super excited. So if you are going, let me know below. I am so excited to meet everybody. Let's see. Oh, that's that freebie I was talking about, the Miss and Meow freebie, that I just absolutely adore. So this might be where I ended up putting in the one on the other side, because like I've said before, oh, nope, I took it out. I decided to do one with a bow. Like I said before, I like to have like some symmetry in my planner, in my spread. So like from one side of the week to the next. So I will typically pull in, like if I've done one on one side, I'll try to pull it in on the other side. So it's hard to see. Maybe I didn't pull it in yet, but anyway, I know I do at some point because I can see it. So the first thing I marked was work. I typically will mark work as my first thing on all of my days. At some point, I'd love to not be marking work every day because it's kind of almost like an obvious thing, but it is such a big part of my life that, I mean, whatever, it gives me something to put on there. So for right now, it's fine. I feel like I've probably said that before, but I marked work this day with using a scallop circle, like a layered circle from the Gathered Layers collection with Panda Bird Design and Gathered Plans. It already had like the garlands and everything on it, so that's kind of nice. Just like slap it down. And I did layer a circle from, like a scallop circle from the kit behind it, and use the scrub icon and then some florals from the kit as well. And then the red box there I used for to mark picking up Manny from his football practice, and I pulled in the football icon from White Deer Stationery. I believe, other than my newest addiction icons, everything else in here was either White Deer Stationery or Crafts by Towie. I'm looking to see. I'm pretty sure that's all the icons that I used, except for one from Miss and Meow, but everything else I think was those. So, oh, and I have another My Newest Addiction. Okay, so it's My Newest Addiction, Crafts by Towie, and White Deer Stationery mainly in here. So, but I picked up Manny from practice that day, and then below that, I was going to mark that there was a beautiful sunset, and so I was trying to figure out how I wanted to mark that, and then I remembered that I had like that kind of like sunburst looking mandala thing, and I thought it'd be really fun to layer some of these transparent. They were like they were I can't talk, $2 Tuesday from Sadie Stickers. And they were meant for like, date covers. Angie had them in like solid premium matte or transparent, and I had bought them in transparent and a lot of them in premium too. And I just thought it was kind of fun to layer and actually like make it look like a sunset. So I had a lot of fun with that. And then I brought in right underneath the like sun looking thing, the divider from Monk and Marble. I am obsessed with her dainty dividers. I pulled them in a lot throughout this spread, but I really thought it was perfect to kind of differentiate like the grass from like the sky. And then I used the little grass washi, not washi, but like deco on there. And I thought it was so fun. So I just wrote beautiful sunset like in the actual grass part of it. But instead of just having like a box and marking that it was a pretty sunset, I like made a sunset in there. And then I brought in more of that like branchy stuff from Pretty Pink Co. So it kind of matches like the sidebar on the other side and brings that, like ties it together. All right. And then Friday. So Fridays are my days off, but that just means that I am, running all the errands. So that morning I did have to take Manny to PT. My husband and I were taking turns taking him to PT throughout the week, for his hip flexor issues. So I, used one of the Cairo tables from Crafts by Towie. I feel like that was appropriate because they have them like on a table. So even though it's Cairo and he was going for PT, I feel like it worked. And then after that, I had to run to Walmart and Food Lion, the places I tend to go apparently. So I used another little basket from White Deer Stationery. And what I was doing there, so I wanted something to layer the checklist over. So I wanted something smaller than what was in the kit. So I took one of the little boxes and cut the end off and then like made it. I've seen Danny from Danny with a Planny do something similar too. And like kind of cut off the end to make the box smaller. So I just did that and cut off what I didn't need, and then cut the checklist down to a like 2-list checklist. So kind of like just modified the boxes in that to make it work for what I needed. And then I pulled in another Bowstrong box from the Giving Girl, again, to try to give some balance with the other one that I used. And kind of went all out in this section, and I didn't really mean to. I just wanted to like make it look good because I knew like I kind of need to take up some space, but I'm literally just marking picking up my daughter from work. So I'm not quite sure why I went completely all out, but I really love the way this section came out. It just is very extra for what I actually was doing, but whatever. So I cut up one of the Panda Bird Designs Gather Layers, like little tacos, and just use that in the 2 corners so that I could like just make it pretty. And then brought in a bunch of florals. I did end up switching those boxes. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and then I brought in some florals from the kit, and the little car icon is from Crafts by Towie. That's not in there yet. And then some grass from the Thrifty Thursday. There I go with the grass. I don't know. I love the grass with the car. I just think it's really cute. Not that you drive on the grass, but I don't know. I just liked the car with the grass. I thought it was so fun to pull in the grass through like so many different elements in here. I did bring in like some florals. I was kind of struggling with like, what do I do with the space in here between the taco and the car? So I just brought in some florals to kind of like tie it all together. And then, sorry if you can hear all of the boys. If you can't hear that, I'm shocked. But my son's friend is over, the one that's always at my house, Andre, love him. And all 3 of them, I think, are playing video games in their room or something. like together, but on separate systems. They're all chilling in there. So they just got really loud. Anyway, okay. So yeah, then I believe I brought in, I don't know, maybe I just did it and didn't see it. The little scallop divider. It's the same one that's framing the boxes on the weekend there, just to break that space up. And then I did, after I picked up my daughter, I did do some work. I think this is the night that I worked from, like I got online at home because I had so much work to do, probably phone audits or something. I have to do 10 phone audits a week. And that sounds like it's not a lot, but trying to listen to phone calls and like fill it in on a spreadsheet and do all the things to make sure my team is, saying things right. It's a lot. So I'm always behind on these and it's a nightmare. So it was the beginning of the next month, which is when we typically will go over those things at our office manager meeting. And so I had to get them done. So I'm pretty sure when I got home, I worked for 9 hours straight, like in my living room, and just like all of a sudden was like, oh my God, what just happened? It was 9 hours. I'm fairly certain that that's what happened that day. It was like 2 a.m. or something when I finally finished. So yeah, that's how I finished my week, that week. So, let's see. Then Saturday, I had made an appointment to go get a pedicure, which was much needed. So I went in the morning and saw my favorite guy. I have my one lady, Mimi, who does my nails, and I followed her from her last salon. Like she had like slipped me her phone number. I didn't know that she was the one who was like, that she owned that salon that I was at the first time, the nail salon. And then she was she was building this new one because she was so secretive about it. And she was like, here's my number, because she knew I really loved how she did my nails. And I'd only been to her a couple times, but she was the only one who did my nails in such a way that I couldn't get them off because I'm such a picker and I will pick them off. And so she had given me her number, like slipped it to me, and I texted her. And come to find out, like she owns the whole dang salon over here, this new nail salon that's gorgeous. And I just love her. She's so sweet. And she used to do my toes and my fingers, but she's so busy that she doesn't have time for toes anymore. So I have this new guy that she recommended in her place. And Min, he's very sweet and he does a great job with my feet. So I made an appointment so I could see him. And I did pull in that icon from Miss and Meow. It's like the only Miss and Meow one, but it matched really well. And I threw like an apple on top of it there. And then the little swoop garland is from Sadie Stickers up in the side you can't see at the moment, in the top of that box. And then I did mark that I took pictures of my spread that day. Probably my previous spread. It obviously wasn't this one because this was a way back plan. So I don't know which spread, but I took pictures of a spread that day. So I used a camera icon from Crafts by Towie. And I just cut like a smaller decorative box from the kit and then put a bunch of florals around it. And that box where I marked pics of spread is actually a Miss and Meow as well. It matched this kit so stinking well. Like there were so many things that I was able to pull into the spread that didn't like come with this or didn't belong with this or were different companies, and they just worked perfectly. So that was one of them. And then after that, I pulled in another Crafts by Towie icon. Was that Crafts by Towie? No. Whose icon is that? I don't remember. But I probably just had it on the screen too. I took a nice long bath. I am the worst with baths. I cannot get out of the tub in less than like 2 hours. Every time I'm like, I'm just going to take a 30-minute bath and I'll get out. And then I am in there forever until the water's cold. So I ordered mod pizza from my tub and my husband went and picked it up for me. I have a million food sensitivities and it's the most annoying thing in the world. And I found a pizza that I could have at Mod with their gluten-free crust and their dairy-free cheese and all of that. And so I definitely ordered that night from the tub and had some Mod pizza. And then I uploaded a plan with me to YouTube that night. Don't remember which one, but I uploaded a plan with me. And I used another Crafts by Towie icon for that with a little YouTube symbol and just like a regular box from the kit. And then last day, what is this, Sunday? Sunday I marked that I slept in. I don't think we went to church that day. I don't remember why we didn't go to church. I don't think anybody was sick or anything. I think maybe I was just exhausted and didn't make it to church because I marked sleeping in. So yeah, I used a bed from my newest addiction. I think those were so cute. So I pulled that in to mark that, and that box already had florals, so I really didn't have to do anything for that, which was nice. And then below that, I did cut that other box, that little red box on the side again to make it smaller to fit the checklist. And we went to CVS, Target, and Publix. And I used just another one of those squares from Miss and Meow behind the checklist just to give there like some color, to give it a wash of color. There it is right there. I really love those. I know like the ink splotches and stuff are becoming more and more popular, but I've really loved bringing in these transparent stickers just to add like more color, because sometimes it's like, it's not that I don't want white space at all, because I don't like when things are super crazy, but like sometimes I just want that little hint of color, and those are perfect for that. And I did use the Crafts by Towie shopping cart icon there with some florals as well. And then below that, I pulled in another little like decorative box from the kit. I love how many decorative like smaller boxes she had. It just made this planning with this so nice. And I pulled that in with a planner icon from Crafts by Towie to mark that I filmed another plan with me, or started to, and then some of the branches from the kit. Sorry guys, my voice is like, what are you doing? This is a lot of talking when we're still trying to recover. And then I just marked a self-care shower. A lot of times on Sunday night, I will do like my self-care shower routine with like my hair masks and my face mask and face steamer and all of that, just to like get ready for the week. Sometimes I'll push it through the whole week without washing my hair again because I'm just so like trying to make it through the week. It's dry shampoo for the win. Usually I'll get to like Thursday, sometimes Friday. This past week, I literally went from Friday to Friday, and I don't think I've ever gone that long, but my hair didn't really look that bad. I blame it on all the hairspray and stuff from the party on Saturday night. Like I had like curls and stuff, and so I was able to rock the curls for a few days and then just like throw ponytails in, and it was fine. So yeah, if you think that's gross, that's fine. You can totally judge me for that. If you had told me years ago that I would go an entire week without washing my hair, I shower every day. Let me put a disclaimer in. I cannot not shower every day. Like I'm just not one of those people that can handle that. It grosses me out for me personally. So yeah, I shower every day. I just was not washing my hair. So if you would have told me that, I would have like died and said there's no way that I will ever go that long without washing my hair, because I used to always be wash your hair every day kind of girl. And then I realized how bad that is for your hair. And so I kept pushing it until like my hair was able to go longer. Let me know if you're on team wash your hair every day or team push that baby as far as you can go. I would love to know. So here I just went back into the sidebar because I didn't love what I had started. I feel like a lot of times I end up finishing the sidebar at the end because I just like lose inspiration and need to like get my creative juices flowing and then go back to it. So I brought in a lot of the Miss and Meow transparent, like the circles and squares, and layered those underneath the florals and then on the side. And I still had another one of those like mandala things, and it fit so perfectly over that half circle. I really love how that like paired so well in the sidebar. Like I really am happy with how that came out, even though there's like not a whole lot of rhyme or reason, and I'm not thrilled with how I did like the lower part of my sidebar. I really love how the upper part came out with like the little fence right there and the apples and the tree, and then like the shapes, the Miss and Meow little like twisted divider thing with the bow hanging into that square one up top. Like I just loved it. So right now I'm just going through and adding, I'll do this a lot at the end where I'll kind of see like what needs a little bit more sparkle. So I wanted to add more of like the little apple deco throughout, because I knew I don't have any other apple kits. So I knew I wasn't going to use this for anything else. And I figured I might as well use that for like the sparkly stuff that I'm going to add to the kit. So just throwing a bunch of that in there. What was I doing? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, just still adding other things. I guess I was pulling something up. Those were branches from the Thrifty Thursday as well. Those were like the only thing that I got in all the foil colors. Everything else I did really good, you guys. You'd be proud of me, because I'm typically team buy all of the foil colors. But for this, because I knew it was kit specific, I only bought the Thrifty Thursday in the light gold, other than those branches, because I figured I would use those in lots of spreads because they were a little bit more generic. But yeah, I really loved that. So, all right, doing a pan over of everything after the pen so you can kind of see how that turned out. Look, right there, that's the box I missed. I'm going to have to go back and fill it in. Sorry I missed that. But thank you guys so much for joining me for this plan with me. As always, I would love if you would give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you can be alerted. You can turn on the notifications button if you want alerts for when new videos go live. But I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Bye.